There's a song that was brewing in my heart last night, and it's a song by Nathaniel Bassey that says, "You surround me with many victories, Jehovah Nissi, you're my banner. You go before me, you fight my battles, Jehovah Nissi." Now, the more I thought about that song, there's a phrase or a group of words that jumped out at me within that song. And it was a bit where it says, "You're my banner. You are my banner." I just kept thinking, what does that mean? And so I went to YouTube and I started searching for any sermons or messages that taught about the Lord being our banner. And so I found this message. It was a short, actually, about 60 seconds long or thereabout, by this man of God whose name I didn't even see. And then he was talking about how when people go for war, and you would see this in most of these movies, most of these epic movies, sort of things like that. When countries go for war, they come out with a banner. Now, the banner that they come out with shows you who they represent. It shows you the authority behind them. So if a group of soldiers come out and they've got the banner of, say, Israel, these people, this is the army of the nation of Israel. If you see that of maybe, say, Japan, you will know this is the army of Japan. And so it made absolute sense that Moses was saying, this is where the verse where this the song, I believe, is drawn from, when Moses was saying, "The Lord is my banner." So it is the authority of the Lord, it is the Lord's backing that we've got. And now this led me to think about this passage, which is one of my favorite passages of all time, in 1 Samuel chapter 17, I believe, where David faced Goliath. And David came out and said to Goliath, "Who are you to challenge the armies of the living God?" In fact, let's read that scripture together. So 1 Samuel chapter 17, 2 seconds and I will find it. Yes, this is opened. So 1 Samuel chapter 17. So when David replied to Goliath, he said, verse 45, David replied to the Philistine, "You come to me with sword, spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies." That sounds to me like he was raising a banner. He didn't have one physically, but maybe he was maybe he was verbalizing the banner that he knew he had, the banner in his mind, the banner that he has always known. "I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." So let's back up to some of the verses before verse 45. Now in verse 8, Goliath stood and shouted a taunt across to the Israelites. "Why are you all coming out to fight?" he called. "I am the Philistine champion, but you are only the servants of Saul. Choose one man to come down here and fight me." Verse 10, "I defy the armies of Israel today. Send me a man who will fight me." Verse 11, when Saul and the Israelites heard this, they were terrified and deeply shaken. What did they hear? What they heard was, "But you are only the servants of Saul." The identity started and ended there. That's what they were hearing. "You are the servants of Saul. Choose one man to come down here and fight me." And obviously they got weak. Now compare this with verse 26, when David came around. David asked the soldiers standing nearby, "What will a man get for killing this Philistine and ending his defiance of Israel? Who is this pagan Philistine anyway, that he is allowed to defy the armies of the living God?" Can you see the difference in identity and the difference in understanding of identity? David saw the army as the armies of the living God, the people carrying the banner that should be carrying the banner of God. Goliath saw them as the people carrying the banner of the house of Saul, and that's what he said to them. David came with a different understanding, and this is the reason why this is one of my favorite scriptures. The question of identity, not just people seeing or what you accept as your identity, but what you understand, what you know, what you can see, what you verbalize, what you project as your identity. The Lord is my banner. The Lord is my banner. I could go on and talking about this, but then this reminds me of a scripture in Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17. Very popular scripture, and I'm sure this is one you have, you've read and you've heard about so many times. Let's read it together. Isaiah 54 verse 17. It says, in the coming day, no weapon turned against you will succeed. You will silence every voice raised up to accuse you. This is where I'm going to. These benefits are enjoyed by the servants of the Lord. It's a question of understanding and knowing what your banner is, or who your banner is in this case. Peace be unto you. My name is Chinenye. I am a Christian woman, obviously, a wife, a mom of 3. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm off to work today. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.